Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we are diving into an issue that touches the lives of millions of South Africans, an issue that many of us face every day, often without a second thought, but one that speaks volumes about inequality, corporate power, and the daily struggle for dignity in the digital age. We are talking about prepaid airtime and data, specifically, the expiration of unused bundles and the economic freedom fighters' latest push to scrap those expiration mandates altogether. Yes, you heard that right. The EFF is calling for an end to a practice that they argue is not only unfair, but outright exploitative. Think about it, how often have you loaded data, maybe just R10 or R30, expecting to stretch it over a few days, only to find it gone in a matter of hours? Not because you used it, but because it expired. This is more than just a technical policy, it's a form of economic exclusion. And now, the EFF is demanding action. According to their recent statement, the EFF believes the current system, where data and airtime expire after a short period, sometimes as little as 5 days or even just a few hours, is a violation of consumer rights. But more than that, they say it's a manipulation of pricing, designed to benefit large telecom corporations at the expense of ordinary people. And let's be honest, they have a point. These expiration policies don't just inconvenience people, they force them to spend more money, more often, just to stay connected. The EFF argues that this practice effectively punishes the poor. For millions of South Africans who depend on prepaid options due to economic constraints, losing unused data or airtime is not just frustrating, it's financially damaging. It's like buying food and being told it will disappear from your fridge in 5 hours if you don't eat it. Can you imagine the outrage if any other essential good worked like that? What the EFF is doing here is more than a simple regulatory complaint. They are framing this as a matter of human dignity. They argue that connectivity, access to the internet, the ability to make calls, to participate in digital spaces, is not a luxury, but a necessity. In modern South Africa, data is a lifeline, it connects job seekers to opportunities, it allows learners to study online, it gives rural communities access to government services, and it helps families stay connected in a country where so many are separated by long distances. The EFF is calling on Parliament to urgently address this issue. They want an immediate scrapping of expiration mandates on all prepaid data and airtime. In other words, if you pay for it, it's yours until you use it, no arbitrary time limits. They also want a full review of data and airtime pricing structures, with a people-first approach to telecommunications policy. This is a bold move, and it's likely to spark resistance from South Africa's major mobile operators, Vodacom, MTN, Telkom, and Cell C, who profit enormously from the current system. According to recent reports, these telecom giants earn billions annually from prepaid services, and expiration policies help maintain a constant cycle of repurchasing, ensuring consistent revenue flow. Removing those policies would disrupt their business models, and potentially force them to rethink their entire pricing strategies. But let's talk about the broader issue here. South Africa has some of the highest data costs in Africa. This isn't new, we've been talking about the "data must fall" campaign for years. Civil society, student groups, and even political parties have demanded cheaper, more accessible data, arguing that the digital divide is keeping millions locked out of progress. The EFF's new push is the latest chapter in that ongoing battle. And let's not forget, this isn't just about money. It's about control. When telecom companies decide when your data should expire, they are essentially deciding how long your access to the digital world should last. That has real consequences for education, for employment, for entrepreneurship, for civic participation. It's about digital rights. And in an economy increasingly reliant on online access, those rights are becoming just as important as access to water and electricity. Critics of the EFF might argue that this is political grandstanding. that it's just another populist move aimed at winning votes. But whether or not that's true, the issue they're raising is undeniably real. The average South African already faces rising costs of living, from electricity to food to transport. Data and airtime should not be another burden, especially when the technology clearly exists to make these services more affordable and accessible. And here's where the bigger question comes in: why hasn't the government acted already? The Independent Communications Authority of South Africa, ICOSA, has tried to regulate the telecom sector before, issuing guidelines about rollover data and clearer pricing, but enforcement has been inconsistent, and the industry has continued to operate with minimal accountability. It raises concerns about regulatory capture, where powerful corporations influence or control the very institutions meant to oversee them. And it brings us back to the role of Parliament and political will. If there is no pressure from political parties or the public, these exploitative practices will simply continue. The EFF statement is a challenge not just to telecom companies, but to every South African policymaker. Whose side are you on? The people, or the profits? The truth is, in a country as unequal as South Africa, the issue of data and airtime expiry is not a small matter. It is a mirror reflecting deeper inequalities. Poor communities are forced to ration connectivity, choosing between airtime for a job interview or saving it for an emergency call. Students are forced to leave their homes to find free Wi-Fi zones because their data expired overnight. Parents can't call home. Small businesses lose clients. The ripple effects are massive. So what happens next? If the EFF can push this issue through Parliament, it could spark a nationwide debate and potentially major reforms in the telecom sector. But it will take more than a statement. It will require coordinated pressure from citizens, advocacy groups, and other political parties. It will require the media to hold telecoms accountable. And it will require ordinary South Africans to realize that this issue affects all of us. Whether you use data for WhatsApp, to check your bank balance, to find a job, or to upload a YouTube video, it should be yours until it's used. Not until a timer runs out. Thanks for watching. If you agree that data and airtime should never expire, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more political updates and deep dives into the issues that matter most to South Africans. Let us know in the comments, have you lost data or airtime because it expired before you could use it? Do you think the telecom industry needs a complete overhaul? See you next time.